Hi guys.
Hi,
So
Jonathan.
hi, I'm Jonathan, writing for Movies in Sweden. A pleasure to be able to speak with the both of you.
Thank you.
I've seen the movie, of course, only one time though yet, but
Put it on
there,
repeat. Keep going.
yeah, yeah, it really feels like one of those that you can watch a bunch of times and still find a whole lot of new stuff every time you watch them. I had to pause the movie a few times because of my children, but each time I realized when I had paused something that I saw something in the corner of the screen, and I that's really funny, and
Oh,
I
thank you.
probably wouldn't have caught it without pausing the movie at that particular point in time. So making a movie like that, where did you how did you start, and where did the idea come from?
I think the idea came from just the basic question of why should we do another Rescue Rangers movie? We grew up big fans of the Rescue Rangers, of Chip and Dale, of the whole Disney afternoon. That was really our age group. We'd race home from school and watch like DuckTales and Tailspin and Gummy Bears and Goof Troop. All that stuff was super important to us. But as adults, it did beg the question of like, okay, like, but why should there be another Rescue Rangers movie? Why, like, we don't need to make another episode of the old TV show. It's up on Disney Plus. You can go watch the old TV show if you want. And so we the original name of the movie was actually the Rescue Rangers reboot that no one asked for, and so for us it was really important to really infuse that question of our sort of modern culture where we are obsessively rebooting stuff, of rehashing stuff, this sort of toxic nostalgia that sort of takes over so much of our culture, and asking, okay, well, if we're going to actually make another movie about these characters, like what can we do that actually speaks to that exact question of like why should they be back? And so instead of coming up with a totally new thing, we really just put that question into the characters' mouths. We let them be our voice, our conversation of is it a little desperate to keep making these movies?
Is it, do we need to reboot everything? And we put that kind of thought to Chip's mouth, really, of just like, why? Does anyone really want this? So yeah, and that was kind of the approach, and it was a very fun idea to us once we kind of landed on this idea that these characters could kind of talk the way we were talking about it a little bit. It helped kind of mold the story. And I think the spirit of the movie, with all of the cameos that you see and all the different characters, it was we wanted to be able to laugh at ourselves, laugh at the culture, while also celebrating it, while also realizing that there is a place to revisit these things that we loved. It's not all bad. There's amazing joy in revisiting the things that the characters that made us. And then especially on an emotional level with Chip and Dale, it was about revisiting a relationship between two best friends more than it was about who they were as actors and a show that they had. So it was really about a reconnection and a celebration of friendship, hopefully, that you get. That is the backbone of this very fun, weird ride that the movie is.
Yeah, and it works out. I must say, I really like the way you get us. There is actually kind of like a prequel in the at the start, where how they meet and stuff like that, and then we see the thing that we all saw back then. And I also grew up watching Rescue Rangers and Darkwing Duck, that you didn't mention.
I'm sorry. I apologize. Please fix it in post.
Yeah, so all of those, and I really like how you took it to our time now, but that is like something that I feel like others have tried and maybe failed to do prior to this, and taking it all the Who Framed Roger Rabbit and L.A. Confidential, kind of merge those together and make like the Lego movie that actually was one of those that could do references really well, and make something come together like you have done now. How much of that was on the page and how much of this was something that you yourself were like surprised to see when the animators and all of those got to do their parts of the story?
Well, first of all, you're warming our hearts completely, because you're the first person actually to mention LA Confidential as well, which, you know, we didn't speak openly about because we were like, well, they're never going to make a movie if we're like, there's some LA Confidential in it. But that was definitely it was very much
for the kids. It's for the kids.
The horrors of underground plastic surgery.
Look, every 7-year-old is going to want an homage to LA Confidential.
Of course.
But yeah, so I think that the short answer to that is we wrote all those things in there. It's how we envisioned it. And then Akiva Schaffer came on board, and we are obviously just such huge fans of his. And he immediately got what we were trying to do on the page. And then he just made it even better. And he just helped bring it to life. And the animators did such an amazing job. But it was really, you know, Akiva and Disney's support, which is wild that they supported this kind of very weird movie. And Mandeville, the producers, everyone really kind of got behind what was on the page and then just made it better. With Akiva really being at the forefront of really wanting to celebrate these things that were on the page and then making them even richer and richer, and being weird and not being scared to take things a little further than you think they're going to go a little darker, go a little stranger. And so to answer the question is we wrote it, and, you know, we were always, you know, a lot of times when we write, we're like, sometimes we'll ask, what would Chris and Phil do? Which are the writers of the Lego movie and so much great. And we admire them as writers, and Lego movie, what they did with that IP, which is just totally unexpected. All those things were meant to be. And then getting Akiva on board is what really, I think, made the whole thing kind of come together in what you see.
But you know, we're still 3 days away from the release, and there will up until the moment it is up on the site, like there will be a part of me that is going to have to be like, wait a minute, has anyone noticed that we're making a joke about them being addicted to cheese, and that they go to a cheese tent, I'm
ground cheese tent.
Yes, exactly. And so, you know, there's just this like tremendous joy at how much of this stuff Disney is like, you know, excited to play with and be self-aware about, and let us mess around a little bit in a very sacrosanct kind of space that they've created.
Yeah, I was also wondering about there being like references to stuff outside of the like Disney Corporation that is huge. So you would have a lot of things within Disney to choose from, but there are some stuff from outside as well. Was that hard to get licensed or to get Disney to go along with, or did you have a lot of those ideas, and the ones that we see are like, okay, you can have that, but you need to cut the 14 other things you wanted to get in there? So how was that playing around with the entire like world of characters?
I think for us, one of the, obviously you mentioned it before, and it's very real. Like I'm sitting underneath a Roger Rabbit poster right now. Roger Rabbit is like one of our favorite movies of all time. And one of the things that Roger Rabbit hit so hard on when it came out, as a little kid seeing it, was the like like mind-boggling amazement that you were seeing the Disney characters and the Warner characters like in the same frame together. That like Bugs and Mickey were together, Donald
Yeah.
and Daffy were together. It was like I can't put it together. What? How? It was shocking. And so for us, we going into this movie, you know, we always felt like this was should be existing in a Roger Rabbit world. And that you know almost like the assumptions of Roger Rabbit are the baseline of this movie. But we really felt like it was really important to expand on that and really take that concept and logic of, okay, cartoons are real people. Well, it's been, you know, 30 years since Roger Rabbit. And so like there's a lot more animation. There's a lot different animation. You know, in 1990, the animation, obviously there was a ton of different styles, but it all still pretty much existed in like a 2D kind of traditional animation world. And when we hit the 90s, when we really had this major explosion of styles and types and technology. And so it was really important for us to keep asking, okay, well, what kind of characters now exist in the world, as you know, as almost a period stamp, a time stamp on who would have come into existence since then. And so it was super important for us to sort of keep honor that logic. And so that was the creative part of it. The you know, the practical part of it to us is the miracle of the movie.
Yeah.
It's really shocking. It's very easy for us to sit at a computer and be like, I want a cartoon from 1910 and a cartoon that was canceled in 2019. Yeah, exactly. And so it was the most fun for us to come up with that stuff. The shocking thing was the amazing amount of work that Akiva, the director, the producers, and Disney themselves, all praise the lawyers, that really went into getting the permissions or just having the nerve to do it without the permissions because it's under satire law. And so all sorts of every single one of those references you're seeing in the movie was an individual negotiation. And so there's no blanket person you can go talk to get permission for that stuff. You know, the complicated part of Roger Rabbit was that Disney and Warner, who had always been sort of fighting each other, came to a détente. This one was not that. This was like, okay, like this character, we need to go ask a favor. This character, we're gonna like talk to our lawyers and see if it's makes sense under like legal terms that we can just do it. And so there really was there's all sorts of characters that obviously, you know, couldn't make it but we're really blown away and happy with everyone that did. We feel like we got our fill.
We can't believe it. It is insane. It is wild to us that it got the amount of things on screen that you got to see are on there. It's just
I really enjoyed it too. So I know we only have a minute or so left here. So I really want to know who cracked the CGI operation upgrade joke.
That was one of the early things that Doug and I kind of came up with as a way to, again, be really aware of the expectation of one of these reboots, that when we come back to these old characters, you've sort of put them into this new CGI look for no good reason per se, that they all kind of have this kind of weird modern vibe most of the time for no reason. It's actually not as enjoyable as the old 2D animations, especially when you're approaching a movie that you want to be nostalgic. You're like, but that doesn't look like the character that I like and care about. Now it's a totally different thing, and he's weirder. And so for us, it was again one of those cornerstone things we came up with right in the beginning, that we were like, there's no way in hell that they will do that, let alone that it's just such a pain in the ass for the animators. They have to do so much more work. And so we knew from the beginning that like this movie it was just a real pain in the ass to make for a lot of people. And so we're so grateful that they took the challenge on and ran with it.
Yeah, and I do feel like most people will probably enjoy it as much as I did.
Oh, that's great.
Let's hope you get to do more of these, and possibly with the Darkwing Duck.
Absolutely.
We love Darkwing, and we think there's also just, we want to keep doing it. We love this world, and we feel like there's more stories to tell, and it's a rich, amazing playground for us to be able to tell stories in. So we hope we appreciate you loving it and letting people know, and just, we think there's a lot of fun to be had. So we're really grateful that it's out there.
Yeah, fingers crossed.
Yeah.
Best of luck with the premiere, guys, and
Thank
thanks
you so
for
much.
talking to me.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.